I saw this at the store the other day. They had a microwave / air fryer. And I'm thinking that's probably because like I have very limited counter space is the problem. So yeah, like maybe that'd be a good idea. Plus my microwave sucks.
Oh shit!
I've got like the because most of them are like the 1,000 watt or whatever. Mine's like the 700 watt like little mini microwave that struggles to make popcorn and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
Now you know it's whatever. It's whatever. What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, Tuesday night with E Honda and stuff.
Tuesday.
We're gonna taco it up and put some lettuce on top with some cheese and some salsa, and then we're gonna put it in your mouth and make you chew it.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, and just shove it down your throat, whether you like it or not.
If you don't like it, we gonna fuck your bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. We already got her in the trunk. Don't worry. Don't you worry about her. We'll take good care of her. In fact, we'll take such good care of her. She's probably ours now, so just get used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give her that dick.
She gonna be blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. She'll be gagging on the. She'll call you on the phone while she's doing it and be like, "Oh no, they're totally being nice to me. I'm just just sitting here.
Okay, honey, I got it.
No, I've got it's a Jolly Rancher that I've got that I'm sucking on. Not what you think."
Oh my god.
Everyone's like calling their wife right now, like, "Honey, say you love me."
Well, I have a VHS of a video recording I did. I was fingering a girl while she was on the phone with a man. I don't know where that tape is at. I need to find it.
Damn, Leo, Mr. Steal Your Girl over here.
Eduardo says it Rumble time already. No, we're not doing Rumble time today, man. We're not doing. I just I didn't feel like setting it up and doing all the extra stuff to do a Rumble chat, and like I'm not even looking at Twitter or anything. We're just having a chat, so there's that. So I mean, unless it gets super spicy and we have something spicy to talk about, I don't plan on having a spicy after chat tonight. Just so you guys know, it's just on YouTube. Sexy Sperm Whale dropped in $2 and said, "Well, she's a guy, so the joke's on you, Ray."
What? No.
I think you would know. Like if it was like Ray and like you're like, all right, let's go back to the like you fucking knew before you went back to the house.
You know.
No question.
You know.
Just saying. Like sometimes you wouldn't know until like it's too late, and then you've already done. You've already done things. You might not have done all the things, but you've done something.
So when you find out, do you just go all the way with it or just stop?
I mean, I think unless you've already gone all the way, you know what I mean? You run for the hills, don't you? I don't know. What do you do?
Run to the hills.
Beg them to keep this a secret.
Run for your life.
I'll pay you. Just shut the fuck up.
Is that what Trump got in trouble for? Isn't that what Trump got in trouble for?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Being like, bitch, shut up, please.
That's why you pay her yourself and not let the lawyer do it.
I just don't understand, like, what exactly it is that they're going after him for. That's going to, like, if it's like 34 counts, right, of having like this shit on a ledger that says, well, because it's like a payment to this person, it's not labeled correctly, and it's like in the commission of a crime, which we're not going to talk about what crime it was or even mention it because I don't have to do it. I'm not legally required to tell you, so fucking stop asking me. It'll be, like, it'll come out eventually, and it's going to be some bullshit crime through like Cohen or someone else where Trump supposedly knew about it, and that's going to come out in court too, and they're all going to let it happen. And the thing is, if this gets past like fucking, the initial round of like, hey, drop this case because it's ridiculous and what are you doing? Objection, if it gets past those objections, then and actually goes to trial, they're going to convict Trump, dude. They're going to try to put him in jail for a bullshit crime, for political reasons, under the direction of the White House. As far as I understand, last time I heard about it, right? Like, and who's going to win? Like if the election was right now and it was Biden versus Trump again,
Trump would win.
Trump would win, 100%. Because people have gotten a taste of Biden and no one fucking wants in it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we've seen you like kissing little kids and smelling their hair and shit, and we looked the other way and that was weird. And we don't know why you're doing that, but it's okay because we thought that you were gonna like have some policies that were good for us, and then you just did all this shit. So there's that.
They were willing to buy, I can't even tell you anymore who would win. Who's to say Trump didn't win last time? But
well,
facts.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Say that.
I'm not saying he did. Not saying he did.
Yeah. Damn it! I wish we were on Rumble now.
No, I did not say Trump won the election. I'm saying maybe, possibly. What if?
I think you're digging the hole deeper.
Am I?
Skidmark dropped in queue. Said, "Yo, peeps, what's up, Skidmark? How you doing, man? How's everything across the pond there, over in jolly old? You're in England, right? Isn't Skidmark in England somewhere?
I thought it
somewhere
was
across
some
the pond.
African nation.
Well, he's dropping in. Isn't that pounds? Isn't that the fucking sign for pounds?
I think it's a South African money, if I'm not mistaken, and it's worth less than a euro, is what it is. So,
son of a bitch, Skidmark with your
if
goddamn
it's not a dollar, who gives a fuck? Nah, just kidding.
Your goddamn inflated currency. Just kidding, Skidmark.
We only count in yen over here. So.
Yeah, we'll soon be only taking Chinese yuan, like the oil countries across the world. Anywhere that produces oil is going to be taking yuan. So that's what we're going to be taking is yuan. Davy Jones says, "Is Matt alive?" No, he went on the other side of the Great Wall. Like that northern wall that separates us from the wildlands to the north. And I think he got turned into a White Walker.
Ooh.
Yeah, he had to join the Watch. Was the problem? NC Lucky says, "Saw today where Republican lawyers are licking their chops, waiting for Biden to get out of office to prosecute him." Well, and that's the problem. That's part of the problem. It's not the problem, but that's part of the problem with this sort of precedent of going after an ex-president based upon even like legitimate reasons, and there's a level, right? Like there's got to be a level, a barrier, a price of entry for the level of crime that's required for them to actually go after. And certainly I don't think it's been met when it comes to Trump and this bullshit charge. But it's got to be something like, yeah, dude, he was like burying children in the fucking White House basement, and we have proof. Something like that. Like something as heinous or of that ilk or whatever, Because even Obama, dude, he killed that 16-year-old kid. 16-year-old United States citizen having dinner in a cafe. They blew up the cafe to get him specifically, right? Like the liberal left would say, "Oh, when you're talking about Anwar al-Awlaki or whatever the fuck his name is, I think that's it. Well, he was killed because they were going after a terrorist, and they got no, bitch. They were going after him. They killed his father because his father was supposedly connected to terrorism, and so they got him. And then they were like, well, his son's over there, and he's talking to people that we don't like, and he's probably radicalized because we literally just killed his father, so we might as well kill him too. The problem is that he was a United States citizen, and the United States government does not have the right, under any circumstance that I know of, to just preemptively kill a United States citizen based upon the crimes that you think that he might commit, which is exactly what Obama did in the name of going after terrorism.
It's the old 1920 style of law enforcement.
Mm.
I remember back in the law enforcement, they just didn't arrest gangsters. When they see them, they just gunned them down. Just like Bonnie and Clyde.
Good old highwaymen.
Yeah.
Didn't Bonnie and Clyde die in like a hail of gunfire?
Yes.
Yeah.
With they had like a Browning fucking semi or an automatic Browning machine gun or some shit. And all this
BAR.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Oh, Tara's here. What's up, Tara?
Yeah, it wasn't a arrest; it was an ambush.
Yeah, it was
They didn't
a
arrest
murder.
Yeah.
They
The
were
car was
talking.
filled with like thousands of bullets.
Yeah, they were talking about exactly what rounds went through the doors and stuff too.
Hello.
Moida.
I'm driving.
MSB 9021 dropped in 20. Thanks, man. That's fucking awesome. It said, hey, in case I fade early tonight before the happy portion of your show. The happy portion? What's the happy portion? Here's a super chat. Hurry and spend it while it's worth $2. Bro, like seriously? At this rate, I'm never going to get a motorcycle, I decided. Because I'll finally have like the one that I want's like $3,000 or $4,000, depending. And by the time I get that much money, it's gonna be like double that. It's gonna be like $6,000 or $8,000. I'm like, okay, fine, inflation, got it. And then I'm gonna get like 6,000 together, and it's gonna be like, nope, now it's 12. Like, motherfucker.
Every single one of my bills went up, like in the past 2 months. All of them.
I just re-signed my lease for my apartment, and if I could find another apartment that would work for the kids in school and walking and stuff like that, I would move. Because dude, when I moved in here, it was like $850 plus, right? And it ended up being like $975. And then when I re-signed my lease, it went up to like $1075 or something like that. It went up like $100.
Damn.
Now I'm paying this time, so this is the second time I've re-signed the lease. Now it's $1,220 or something like that every month.
Jesus.
Well, I was feeling bad, but I'm glad I'm not paying that. But we refinanced our house at the beginning of last year. And for some reason, our homestead exemption wasn't processed that we've had forever. And it made our taxes $150 higher each month because I have my taxes worked in with the home loan. So I'm paying nearly $1,000 a month when I'm used to paying, $800 and something a month. And everything else went up. Insurance went up. All of it. The only thing that didn't go up was my bike payment.
Yep. Shit sucks right now. It's only going to get worse. And the thing is, like, as things become more expensive, right? Well, then places that employ people necessarily have to increase their wages because people are going to really start going to their boss and being like, look, motherfucker, things cost more, so I cost more, period. And that's great, right? That's great for people because now you're going to make more money and now it's going to be more fair for you. But the problem is supply chain, that kind of thing, when there's like 12 hands that something has to go through before it's on the shelf or whatever it is, and the price of labor goes up for each one of those people up across all levels of the supply chain. Like, think about like cans of corn, right? So you got the farmer, but he has to have his equipment, and he has to have his gas, his fuel for the equipment, and that costs more now. And so he's paying more for all of that, plus labor, and like fertilizer costs more, like everything costs more. So he's charging more all across the board. But then he puts it on the truck. Well, the truck driver has to charge more because her fuel costs more, and blah blah blah. So she's fucking charging more for her part of it. And then it gets to the packing facility, the canning facility, whatever it is, right? And they've got, like their overhead is going up, and their electricity costs, like everything across the board is going to cost more, to that point where that 50-cent can of corn is going to be $25. And they're going to be like, well, there's a reason for that.
But you're not really making more money. Even if they pay you more to increase to it, they're just taking that piece of that dollar, that thing where it's like, here's how inflation works. Here's $1. Now I'm going to give you $2. And they cut that dollar in half. Now I'm going to give you $4. They cut them in half again. You've still got the same amount you started off with. Well, the problem is your money is worth less. You're trying to get the wages that you're making to equal the same value as they were before. So the value is still the same. It's just the number is up, but it still has the same value. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, in order to keep up with, God, especially like the grocery store has been killing me. That's the main thing.
Me too.
I used to be able to go to the grocery store and spend, maybe $150 ish, $200 on a hard week if I needed like soap and shampoo and, like laundry detergent and all the things, it might hit you harder. You have to spend like $200, and that'd be it for a week. Now I go and buy like stuff to make dinner, and it's like $75, for like a steak and some potatoes, and we needed butter, and we wanted drinks, and here's some cookies, and we needed cheese. It's like, okay, doesn't sound like much, but that's a fuck ton of money, dude, and that shit adds up way the hell more than $150 a month added to my like rent. Like that's like negligible compared to the amount that I'm spending at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should start doing cheap meals instead of easy meals. There might be a market for that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's certainly a couple of meals that I make that are super cheap, that feed the kids, that is okay enough for me to eat. It's like, it tastes good enough to slop down my throat. Makes a turd at least.
It's just roughage. If it fills you up, it's like roughage, or, like feeding cattle or something.
Well, my favorite is you take like 2 pounds of ground beef and just like cook it all loose, and then add in like two cups of dry cooked rice. So it's like dry rice, 2 cups. Cook it, add that in, and then like a nice big portion of fucking cream of mushroom soup, and like a can of peas, and you mix that all together. Mix that all together. Maybe put a little bit of cheese on top if you have it.
Sounds like you're in jail.
Yeah, dude, that's like jail food, but it's.
So you said cream and
actually,
jail food hacks. I'll be looking at.
If you look at the beef and barley that I made, it's kind of similar, except instead of rice, I'm using barley. Of course, I got carrots and other stuff in it, but you use the can of, cream of mushroom, and you put that in there as well. But one of my favorite meals to make, because it's really easy and it's cheap. You can use broth, you can use bouillon, you can use stock, you can use better than bouillon, it doesn't matter. But I'll take like 6 red potatoes or gold potatoes, garlic soup, and which I believe Honda has had before. But hangover soup, that sort of thing. But you start off with like 7 cloves of garlic. Huh?
We're not doing a cooking show. I don't feel like doing a cooking show. Stephen Carroll I just left my old apartment because my rent jumped from $1,750 to $2,300.
Oh
Jesus
wow, that's a
Christ. Now I'm in a tiny 2-bedroom, and my gas bill is higher than my parents' house.
Jesus.
Dude, shit's getting rough. And like, the other part about it is like, as things get worse, as companies start laying off people and stuff like that, and you're not able to meet your financial obligations like rent, what do you do? What do you do? And
We were looking at moving.
at a point, I think the answer is you say, "Fuck you! I'm not leaving. I don't care," because like everyone's going to be doing that shit, and they're, like, what are the police going to do? Come and like kick everybody out of everywhere? They didn't do it during the pandemic. I guess they could do it now, especially if you live in a house and it's a fucking mortgage or whatever. But if you're just living in an apartment, I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer, but I think that's what it's going to start fucking. That's where it's going to go. Because if no one can pay rent, then no one's paying rent. And if no one's paying rent, then no one's getting evicted for not paying rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said earlier, that's how it was during the pandemic. So,
Well,
it
and
could
like
turn-
cities and different places had rules and laws in place or whatever that said, "Hey, landlord, you're not allowed to fucking evict people in the middle of a pandemic. Sorry."
right.
We were going to
They
get a
should.
new home, and we were going to sell our home and get a new one. And this is a few months ago. And the home we were looking at, it's newer, but the only thing really different was it had a bigger garage, and it would have doubled my monthly note. So we ended up not doing it.
Calhoun,
I don't know how people are paying $2,000 a month for an apartment.
a lot.
I don't know. I mean, I heard it's the average here in my state.
I mean, honestly,
Well,
like
2,500 thing.
1,200 is the cheapest apartment you can find anywhere. Like if I looked on a map right now, like apartmentfinder.com or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I want to move to another 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment in my area, just in my area, cheapest one you're gonna find is $1,500. Cheapest.
The last time
cheapest.
The
cheap,
I had
dude.
an apartment.
My fucking ex-girlfriend, the one that lived in Denver, her apartment was $6,000 a month.
God damn.
Damn.
She lived on like
Last
the
time-
30th floor of the fucking place or whatever. They had bellhops for all that, like it was like super fancy, and it was in downtown Denver, and it was $6,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment, and her half of the rent was $3,000 a month. But then you go down to the first floor to like get a coffee at the fucking coffee place across the street, and you got to hop over fucking homeless people and shit. It was like,
That sounds like some places here in LA.
Yeah, I just did the Google. An average rent for an apartment in Chicago is $2,200.
there you go.
That is insane. The last time we had an apartment, it was like a condo apartment sort of thing. We had the second and third floors, living room and all that on the bottom floor, and bedrooms and stuff on the top floor. It was a 2-bedroom on the corner. Didn't bother anyone with my guitars or anything like that. And we paid $475 a month. Cable and water were included in that.
Yeah, that's a different time. That's a different world. No one's dealing with that now. There's no
No.
one situation anywhere in the entire United States. I don't care where you are. Name a fucking city, name a state, name a place. You cannot find $400 fucking a month rent. It does not exist.
Nope.
I know. The
Unless-
last time I
unless
rented
you
any
rent
place,
a basement like room from somebody who's got a house, and even then, it's like, like that's a shitty way to live.
The funny thing is, the closest one that you were talking about, Honda, I only met one dude, but remember, this was like years back, so let's say 6 or 8 years ago. I remember he did like find a place to, like, oh, it's like 400 rent, but I think it was like a house, but it was up in like Georgia. But
Now,
yeah,
if you
that
wanna
you had
live
like
in
a certain job, where you work at stuff. Because I know my girl plays double than that, but but she's in a like one of those type of apartments where you share with other friends. Like, you know, you got 2 other rooms.
Now, if
But
you
the
want to
job
live in
she
a
works
shitty
at, she don't make a
neighborhood,
lot of money. Now, if I was making the money she was with that type of rent, that would have been nothing.
Well, the thing is, like, the thing you got to do, and I wish that I had known this years ago, is get your fucking credit together, get like your monthly income on paper showed to be enough, save some money in the bank account, and then once you have all 3 of those things together, you go and you buy a house or an apartment or whatever it is that you can afford, and then you have it. And the thing is, it's like, whoa, this is expensive for what it is right now. I'm paying, $1,000 a month for this place. But you're locked into that price because, like you have the mortgage and you have, it's like a 30-year fixed mortgage loan. So in 30 years, when like everything's like $20,000 for a soda, you're paying $1,000 a month for your mortgage. It's like it doesn't matter anymore. Like that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I was going to say basically the same thing because you've got it locked in. Say you're paying $800, $1,200, even if you're paying $2,000 a month now, you buy that house. The way inflation's going, 10, 15 years down the road, people are going to be paying $4,000 for the same house that you're getting for $2,000.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your note in a way is going down.
Well, I mean, it's because of the hidden tax of inflation. It's because,
Right.
like, the dumbest thing you can do with your money is what grandpa or whoever did with it in your family back in the day, which is take his extra $20 a week or whatever it was extra that he had and put it in a box under the bed. And then, at the end of his, 30 years of doing that, he's got like $50,000. Like, oh my God, I've got so much money. I could retire. And then he dies and no one fucking finds the box. And then like someone moves into the house 50 years later and they're remodeling and ripping up the carpet and they find this box of $50,000. They're like, booyah, paid for the remodel.
How long do you think it's going to be here until they do what they've already done in other countries? I think India was one that did it, where they changed their dollar and you had X amount of time to turn in your dollars. That because so many people were doing that and they were trying to keep track of the money and how much people were paying, basically what they're wanting to do with crypto. So if they come up with the Fed dollar or something like that, how long do you think it'll be before they say you have X amount of time to turn in your actual dollars that you're hiding under your bed or, in the big pickle jar in the closet or something, all your change before it becomes worthless?
I'll say it's a decade,
week.
but it depends how fast they want to push it because sometimes government is slow. But we don't. It's one of those things we don't know.
Right, it'll be a phasing out process. Yeah.
I mean, it'll be as soon as the dollar goes fucking bust.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you go to the store and you're like, shit, $20,000 for my grocery bill this week, I can't afford that. I'm just stealing it. Because everyone's stealing it, so why am I going to pay all my money for this shit that everyone's stealing? Oh shit, there's not a store. Oh shit, the banks don't exist. Oh shit, the whole thing like broke down and doesn't work anymore. Hey, they're coming forward with this new coin that this like weird shop that they've come up with guards and stuff now that you can shop at with this new coin. All you got to do is trade your stuff in, and people are going to fucking flock to it at that point.
Here's the thing. Oh, I have a question. Serious question. How would people pay for their drugs after that?
I think you got to trade for them, right? Because there's other things that hold value that people have. There's things that hold value that you can buy with your coins potentially. So like Red Bull or cigarettes or whatever it is. Something else will become some form of currency that will be accepted in some circles.
Yep.
And it depends on the area geographically, potentially. It depends on it depends on what exactly you can buy with your Fed coin or whatever it ends up being, So like if there's certain things that you can buy with your Fed coin that you can only get like one of a week or something, it's like limited somehow. Yeah,
So
that's
that
going to be
means
worth more.
People
lot
go,
more break-ins then. Because
people
how
gonna be
is the
trading
average
themselves.
crackhead? Like, how
Yeah,
is the average
exactly.
crackhead gonna pay for his rocks? You know?
Dude, he's just gonna steal
Blowjobs.
your shit. Exactly. He's going to
Exactly.
steal your shit and fucking you're gonna break in. It's like what happens in San Francisco. People just leave their windows down now with nothing in their car, with a sign in the window that says, "Go ahead and look. There's nothing to steal here." Because if there's anything in the car of value whatsoever, they're gonna fucking get their windows smashed or whatever, and they're gonna take their shit.
Y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they're gonna be selling themselves.
Well,
Yep,
there's gonna be some of that too, but what about the ugly
They
crackheads?
basically do that now.
The ugly crackheads can't sell themselves. The ugly
They
crackheads are
don't
gonna
have
steal your
teeth.
shit. The ugly crackheads are gonna fucking
They
find a
don't have
weapon and
teeth.
stop
There's
you.
a market for that.
Is there
I was
like a
going to say
delay?
that to get a gum jar.
What's that? It feels better when they
Shit.
don't have.
Yeah.
Guns and Barbecue dropped in 5 and said they had a comment period 1 year ago about getting rid of physical currency. What happened with that? Did everyone fucking say fuck you? I hope so. Because that's the thing about cash, dude. Cash, you need cash. You need to have the ability to take a $20 bill and give it to someone for something, and then for them to take that $20 bill and to give it to someone else for something, and have no accountability for whatever's going on. I don't
How
care.
are people gonna rob stores? Because
It
they
needs
wouldn't
to
be
be.
walking in and taking the register.
There needs to
Just
be
take stuff of value.
less
I
accountability.
mean, hacking might become a bigger thing. I mean, all you need is like certain things to do that, or like readers, or stuff like that. Maybe stuff that gives white people's cards or information.
Have you noticed the scams and stuff are going up? Like, the text messages and stuff like that.
Shit.
People
Yeah.
dealing less and less cash, and they're just trying to get access to your bank account. That's much less risk to them or anybody else than trying to rob you personally or a liquor store or wherever.
There's
Right.
also a lot of fake charities popping up after the whole thing in East Palestine a couple months ago. There was one that was supposed to be supplying clean water, and they stole over $130,000. The current AG of Ohio is not suing the shit out of them for that.
Nice.
Fucking Dogecoin. Yeah, it just lost it lost a little bit of money. It's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, I put my Dogecoin when it was at its high into Bitcoin. I ended up making like $70.
Nice. I should have sold it when it was close to 70 cents or whatever. Got what I could have got for it. It would have been a profit at that point, but it's whatever.
I left
Daniel
all my stock.
Daniel dropped in 5 and said, https www.ssa.gov blah blah blah. Try this in inflated dollars. Basically can't save enough money to retire at this point with projected inflation.
Mm-hmm.
The world's fucked. We're going to be slaves till the day we die.
You know what I hate about StreamYard is I can see the comment right there, but I cannot click on it or highlight it or do anything to get it to fucking actually go. Okay, here we go. Benefits calculator, Social Security quick calculator. Here, let me screen share this actually. Oh God. Oh Lord.
I didn't sell off any of my coins or any of my stocks or any of that stuff. And I have a theory that $100,000 today, if you're making $100,000 a year right now, that's the same as if you were making $60,000 a year 4 years ago.
Okay. Benefits estimates depend on the date of birth, earnings history, for example, quick calculator, blah blah blah. Although the quick calculator does not make initial assumptions about the past earnings, you will have the opportunity to change assumed earnings, blah blah blah. Okay. Enter your date of birth. We're gonna go with 81. Because that's what year I was born. What did you make this year? And we'll go with that number. If you entered 0, we assume that you're now retired. No.
Question: can anybody hear my fan blowing?
Okay, that's if you entered 0.
No.
No,
Okay.
can't hear it. If you
I was
decide
wondering if
upon
my truck's too
retirement
loud.
date, enter the month and number.
No.
Okay, what year should I retire, do you think? 41 right now? Was that 19 more years? 60?
What about 65, 67?
Okay, 65 will go.
Okay.
So that would be in 24 more years. So that would be in 2047.
Yep.
2047. And we'll go January, because why not?
After the Third World War.
Fourth.
Yeah, fourth. The Second Civil War.
Okay, your estimated monthly benefit amount beginning at the age 65 and 7 months in 2047 is $1,700 a week or a month. That's
Wow.
all it. What the fuck, dude? I don't think in 2047 $1,700 a month is going to buy anything.
Barely buys anything now.
Yeah, like I couldn't live on that now.
Do
I mean, maybe
77.
if I ate fucking ramen and didn't have a car, I
And
could do
drink
that.
water.
Now. Yeah. Wow. Wow. All right.
Can you even imagine what 2047 is going to look like right now?
Demolition Man.
Right. I can't even imagine what 2024 is going to look like.
Oh, we ain't gonna make
2025.
it 2025, bro.
I had to click inflated dollars. I didn't see that. Sorry, Daniel. When did capitalism become slavery with extra steps? When government gets involved. It's been like that pretty much my whole life, and to some extent or another. Because even if you own land, even if you own your house, even if you have paid off the mortgage and you don't have a mortgage anymore, well, there's still taxes, and the taxes go up based upon the tax rate and the value of your house, right? And if they suddenly like your house becomes more valuable because inflation, and now it's worth $10 million for this house, and you have to pay 3% of that annually to own this house in taxes or whatever it. You know what I mean? You don't own your house, being the point. Property tax and insurance. Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
They're
so they
doing
probably-
everything they can to keep your kids from owning your house too.
Well, the thing
Especially,
was, good.
well, between reverse mortgages and having to, I mean, you got to pay off your parents' debts and everything when they pass. But like when my wife's father died, you know, he left her a house and a car and all that stuff. And with our finances at the time, unless we wanted to become like landlords, which I don't want to do that. Bad experiences. But we had to sell all that stuff off just to pay what was left owed. Because another thing, in many ways, the yuppies and the hippies, the boomer generation screwed us over big time. And they screwed Generation X and the rest of them because of doing things like most of them aren't paying off their homes like their parents did. Their parents transferred their wealth to them. And I'm old enough to remember how the greatest generation was talking about them like we do about millennials and stuff like that, you know, how lazy they are and everything. Well, they're the ones who got all this stuff started that caused college to cost so much now, you know, things like that. But they're not paying anything off. They're 70, 80 years old, refinancing, buying a new
Well, the
house, or
reason college
getting a
costs so much
reverse
now
mortgage.
isn't because any particular group of boomers did. It was because everyone allowed the government to get involved with colleges and say, hey, everyone has the right to go to college. Because at the time when they first got into it, it was something like 15 or 20% of the country went to college. And they're like, well, everyone should be. Their thinking was like this, right? it's like if you play basketball on a professional basketball team, the chances of you being tall are very high. We want everyone to be tall, so therefore, to make everyone taller, what we're going to do is make a bunch of professional basketball teams and put everyone on them. And because they're on professional teams and people who are on professional teams are taller, it will make everyone taller. But that's not how it works, right? Like the reason that the people are on professional basketball teams is because they're tall. And you making more teams to put people on doesn't mean that there's more tall people to go on to those teams, if you follow the logic, right?
Yeah, I was just saying they're the generation that was pushing all this with they're the ones who were coming into power that were what's the right word for it? Basically, they're the ones who had control at the time all that was being done.
Well, it's funny how it works, because like my entire fucking life, up until just now, until, like 2022, who had control, who was in charge of basically everything?
Boomers.
The answer is the boomers, right?
Mhm.
Boomers. Boomers own everything. Boomers control everything. Boomers are bosses of everything. Boomers get the benefits of everything. Boomers get to fucking retire and chill and do things and get all the medical benefits and all the things and have everything for themselves and whatever it is. Right? Now who's in charge? Anybody?
X is becoming in charge, my generation.
It's the millennials.
Yeah.
Millennials.
Millennials are in charge because they're the ones who become whiny and have the loudest voice and pound the table and scream and have a temper tantrum if they don't get their way. So they get their way, so they're in charge. It skipped us.
They outnumber all of us combined. Well, y'all are millennials, right? Or what are y'all?
I'm technically
I
a
am.
Zennial.
I'm a millennial.
I'm
Whatever, I'm Gen
77,
X,
so I'm
bitches.
Gen X.
You fucking boomer ass, like you little fucking fetuses. I called you boomers. I meant fetuses.
The thing is,
Went the
though, a
wrong way
lot
with
of if we actually look at our government currently, like Biden and those people, like him, Feinstein, etc., are all silent generation people, though.
I don't think Biden's really in charge, though. Do you?
No,
No.
he's not. But what I'm saying is specifically like him and a few others aren't actually baby boomers. They're silent generation. They're a little bit older.
Well, point being, Biden's not in charge. Pelosi's not in charge. They have people who run them. If they wanted to go the opposite way, they'd be out in 5 fucking seconds, and someone else would be in, right? The only reason that they're in is because they're willing to go along with things and make a little bit of extra profit for themselves along the way. They're bought and paid for. They're sold out. If they ever got the idea in their head to like fucking stop the game or stop being sold out or turn against the fucking group that's paying for everything, they'd be out on the street or worse in 5 fucking seconds flat.
Or don't forget what other secrets that they got that could probably put them in fucking jail and all that shit.
Daniel says your benefit would be about 4 times your current rate due to inflation, meaning their projection, the dollar would be worth 4 times less in 20 years. Dude, that about makes sense. Like, I think I started working in 1998, 96 really, but my first like real job where I was making like decent money was 1998, and I was making $100 to $150 a day, right? And that was it, like $2 an hour. That was basically included, but $100 to $150 a day. I'd work 2 days a week. I'd have $200 to $300 a week that I would make. So I was making what is that? Like $800 to $1,200 a month, probably about $1,000 a month, working 2 days a week. And that was really good money for back then, dude. That was really fucking good money for back then. Because I could pay rent at a basement room in a house. I could buy food. I could pay for my car insurance. I could put gas in my car. And at the end of the week, I had to go back to work because I was out of money. But it was
Remember
enough.
that one friend? That one friend that had a job where they made like $400 a week and they were popular as hell because he had money.
Yeah, that was me. But I also moved out when I was 16 years old, mind you. I lived on my
I
own
remember.
at 16 years old, and I paid rent at 16 years old, and fucking had to have a job, even though I was still in high school, even though I still technically had a father in my life who had nothing to do with me, who I didn't live with, who was getting benefits from the government to take care of me because my mom died. Yeah, but it's all good.
Honda, Honda, you brought up a good point. Shoot, anybody who's even, if you ain't even fucking past the age 18, you can't even do shit.
Wait, say that again?
No, I said if you're not even past the age of 18, you can't even do shit. As compared to you, what you were doing when you were 16.
Oh yeah, can you imagine trying to do that today? Like 16-year-old gets a job working 2 days a week, is able to pay rent at a house and buy food for himself and drive himself to school in a car that he owns with car insurance that he pays for, working 2 days a week. There's no fucking way. Not around here. Not with the way things
I was
work
gonna
here
say,
in
can you
Denver.
even do that, or you have to at least be
I
18
s-
in some
I started
situations?
working when I was 14. I pushed home cars to fix, so I had something to drive. Parents couldn't buy me anything. I bought all my own clothes, all my own everything. My mom would steal my money because she needed it for this, that, or the other. At the same time, she was collecting. Oh, she had worked some scam out where she was collecting like SSI or what have you on me, and I ended up having to pay that back. It was either that or press charges on my mom, and so I didn't get a tax refund for a very long time. And I had nothing. You push a motorcycle home, and your friends help you get it going, and okay, I've got a car, and you're making what was it? I think like 370 an hour, but it's Clinton administration. Everybody's talking about how many more years it was going to be, and minimum wage was going to be $5 an hour, and we were all going to make money. We were actually looking forward to making $5 an hour.
Oh shit. Thanks, dude. Yeah. Where's the straw?
I just said there was only one straw left.
So give me the straw. God damn it. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
What do I owe you?
That was nothing. It's fine.
For real?
Yeah.
They may cut out on me.
All right.
I gotta
Well,
turn my
thank you,
logbook off.
Don't worry.
All right.
Nice.
How does that Bud Light taste, Honda?
Mmm. Delicious.
Nice.
Actually, going to put this in the freezer. My son brought me a milkshake home.
What type?
What kind?
Chocolate. Is it chocolate shake?
I thought you didn't dabble with chocolate.
Where's this even from? Oh, Dairy Queen. A Dairy Queen shake.
I got want me to get a banana shake.
Oh, you
Here,
do
I'll be
love
right back.
bananas, right?
Ah.
You love that banana.
I'm on strawberry. Yeah, I'll think get a banana shake.
Here's another thing that's going to be hitting us pretty hard and kind of like at an accelerated rate. 'Cause I know, people, they're worried about immigrants taking jobs and all that. But Andrew Yang did have a point about automation. Because even
Yep.
if you bring these factories back, if they left with 5,000 jobs, they're going to come back with 200. And a lot of these factories, especially small town America, there's not enough. You don't need a whole bunch of people on a farm. My brother runs the farm up in Oklahoma now. There's no need for anyone else. And all you have are these little factory jobs, that sort of thing. Some factory moves in, they make some kind of product, what have you. Well, they used to employ most of the town, and now they're going to employ
Okay, well, think
way
about
less.
this. Inflation hits. Everybody's making $20 an hour minimum, right? Like that's new. That's like the new minimum wage. Like factory jobs are probably paying 25. Now everybody comes back and they're like, well, we can't trade with China anymore because reasons. Now we got to make things here. Okay, cool. Factories reopen. Everyone's hired again. $25 an hour. Now we're making our widgets that used to come from Japan that were so cheap no one even thought about them, that now cost like $45 a piece. Like, you think inflation's bad now, like I was talking about earlier, when it compounds with the levels of pay that's required to produce things and have them show up at places? Like,
It's
just
cheaper.
feeding ourselves is going to be ridiculous. Honestly, dude, we are in for some shit, and it sucks. And I hate that we always end up talking about this, but it's true. It's 100% true. Like, that's on the horizon. It's closer than ever before. We've been talking about it for years, and I mean, we've never had it closer to reality in my lifetime than it is right now.
The biggest problem I personally have with Andrew Yang, and yes, his piece of shit ass is what led to my friend was swatting in 2019, was the fact that he was talking about automation, and he could have done something about it, by the way. He probably could have won the presidency if he had done it correctly. Instead, he went full universal basic income, which is the dumbest fucking thing possible.
Right. And
Well,
I don't
then,
agree
like,
with universal basic income.
only counts if, like, the amount of money that you're paying people for their universal basic income can cover their basic needs. But if inflation continues to go on and on and up, and you're paying people like say $2,000 a month, right? You're paying everybody $2,000 a month to sit around and do nothing. Well, now rent is $2,500 a month, and food is like $7,000 a month for one person. So your $2,000 a month covers almost rent, and now you got to pay for everything else still, and it's way more than it ever was before there was universal basic income.
It sounds a lot like welfare in a way, like how, people collect welfare, pays for their house, pays for this, they live in a 440 home, that sort of thing. So is that the end goal or the end result of that is basically we're all living in like a 440 home neighborhood sort of thing where
Well, I think
nobody
they want
really
us all in
has
like
anything?
they want us all in like a 300 square foot studio apartment with like 3 other people. They want us to have like the 15-minute cities. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the 15-minute
That sounds like the
city.
Soviet bloc apartments. All
The
you'd have to do is
15-minute
have a
city
communal
is
shower and toilet.
everything within that you will need with it, like your job, the store, everything that is a 15-minute walk from your house. And so there's no reason for you ever to leave that 15-minute area unless you get a pass. In fact, you cannot leave, right? Like, you are stuck there unless you get specific permission to leave that area, because that costs carbon. That takes energy, that takes resources away from other people that are going to need it. Like, so therefore, you only get permission if you have a special reason. You don't get to do that just for any old reason.
I can see it turn to that, or shoot, I'd rather it be a fucked up like Fallout type way universe and stuff where it's like the apocalypse. I feel that's I'd rather deal with that shit than deal with that type of mess.
Well, it
The whole
sounds a lot like fucking Hunger Games, doesn't it?
It reminds me of the movie In Time,
Okay.
actually, where you had to put like your wrist out and take time off you and stuff like that to get
I
different
love that
sectors and shit.
movie.
Yeah,
I
or
love
that.
that movie.
Wait, what
Like the
movie?
Island.
In
The
Time,
Island movie?
the one with Justin Timberlake in it.
I didn't see it.
A movie
Yeah,
like
it's
those
basically
is
everything runs on time, and you like
Right.
have to basically work for time, and people are immortal because they have so much time.
When I was a little kid, I was a huge fan of the Mickey Mouse Club. And if you remember the OG Mickey Mouse Club was Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake,
Mhm.
and a bunch of assholes no one cares about, right?
Christina Aguilera was also part of that.
Oh yeah, she was there too. Anyway, I wrote a letter, like 5-6-year-old Honda, to Justin Timberlake because I thought he was cool and I wanted to be like him. And he wrote me a letter back to 5-year-old Honda saying whatever he said. I don't know what it said. And I wish I had that letter because I bet it'd be worth fucking money at this point.
Oh man, definitely.
How was I supposed to know he'd be like an international fucking superstar? I didn't.
Why don't you write him again and see what happens?
When I was 5, you were.
Yes, I still got that letter, Honda.
36 years ago, you wrote me a letter.
He probably carries that letter in his
Yeah,
man
he still
bag
has my letter hanging on his wall. What happened to mine with his?
My first fan mail.
I'm sure it was like among his first fan mail. Yes.
Yep.
I don't know if it was his first fucking fan mail,
Right.
but it was like some of the first fan mail that he got.
He's probably still at his mother's house in a collage.
Yeah, his mom's got it somewhere. That's right. Library Garrett dropped in 5 and said, was in Japan a few weeks ago. Whether you work at 7-Eleven or a suit shop, people take what they do extremely seriously, makes 90% of Americans look lazy. I agree. Japan's fucking industrious as fuck.
Oh yeah,
And
they have a type of culture where, much as a person who's a big fan of, Japan stuff. You already know what I'm into. Most of y'all have seen me in this podcast, but they're very, very against people going to, that stick out or go outside the grain because you kind of be ostracized. But they always had that type of viewpoint of work effort. But there are some cons to that. But it is what it is. What they do around in the country.
The main thing that Japan has to deal with, they haven't dealt with yet, is their population decline problem.
They've been doing that on they got a lot of fucking ghost towns and ghost cities out there and shit.
Right. Well, what I'm saying though is
and
like
people getting old.
That's what it should be like here, because people aren't having kids, and so we're just letting fucking millions and millions and millions of people just come across the border, and they're having kids. So there's still tons of people here, right? It's like there was, nothing really changed along the way except for the demographics a little bit. But the thing is, that's why shit's so expensive. That's why shit's so expensive, you dumb fucks. Jesus Christ, wake up. Why can't you afford a house? Because the demand, supply and demand, Honda. Don't you understand economics? Okay, if you let 10 million people a year in for the past my entire fucking lifetime into this fucking country, and now I can't afford a house, why is that? Oh, in Japan, you could totally afford a house because there's fucking houses that no one wants to live in because they don't have enough people. That's exactly what it would be like here. Everyone would have a fucking mansion.
I would move to Japan if they got their gun rights back. Until then, fuck that.
A little bit in that way too, a little bit, but no, they're about to do the same thing too. They're actually trying to bring immigrants to come to their place. more of course, most
They need to stop giving the illegal immigrants all this fucking free shit too. That doesn't help either.
Eduardo says the VTech kicked in. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to yell on all your guys.
It did. That shit kicked in hard, yo.
Girl that my cousin used to date. Her family was from Venezuela, or not Venezuela, Nicaragua, and she was talking about how down in their countries, like all the people that are coming here from those nations are all like basically the middle class of those nations, and a lot of them are coming here because they're leaving socialism. Because if you're not a socialist or a communist, you cannot get a job in those nations.
Mm.
And then they're also telling them on TV, like, come to America and we'll give you a free house, free rent, free everything.
Library Garrett says, like, we got it good, but it won't last like this. No, dude, you're 100% right. I think Japan's probably set up. If they can get over that problem, that's the problem they got to get over, is, like, the birthing problem. They got to, like, incentivize their people to have 17 children per couple, and then they'll be fine. They'll be fine because they are industrious. They are overall intelligent. They have overall a homogenous society, both like in every way.
They are. Yeah, they are xenophobic in their own ways. But the weird thing is they do overcharge certain shit too. So that's why certain things are expensive there too. But that's what I'm saying. It's a weird thing with that. With
how much
their
space
side
do
of
they
culture.
have? I mean, like they live on an island.
How much what?
How much
Space.
space do they have?
They still got a lot of space in those mountains.
I
and
mean, it's like the
forests.
size of California-ish, give or take. Like, how many people live in California? 60 million? How many people live in Japan? 100 million? It's like California, a little bit, little few more people. I don't know.
So what's the size of England?
What's that?
I'm just thinking out loud too. Like, man, what's the size of England too?
A little bit smaller than California. Honestly, England's more crowded.
Right. And they took over half the world. Shit.
Like, the only place that there's really like open spaces besides parks and shit in England is like the northern side of, you know, where the mountains are, and Scotland area and that kind of thing. But even still, like, everywhere there's like some space that's not being used, you know, pretty much.
The current population of England is just under 56 million.
What's the size of England compared to California?
I have no idea.
Well, God damn it, I can look that up.
Right. I'm just about to do the Googles.
I mean, over there, I think a lot of people don't live in the countryside too.
And you got to account for like farmland, right? You need enough space for farmland. And
Okay, California is 155,000 square miles. Hold on.
I think Smoke put it in the chat.
England is 94,000 square miles. So it's like 2/3 ish the size. 2/3 ish.
Okay. Yeah, I see what Smoke said. He said Japan's 146K. California's, yeah. So close.
So yeah, Japan's almost exactly the same size as California. I knew that. Fairly close.
I was wondering if we were creating like an idiocracy thing here where the working class, the middle class isn't really breeding. You know, we're having like 1 or 2 kids, that sort of thing for the most part. And then the people who are actually working the system, staying at home, living on welfare, that sort of stuff,
I just bang it
end
away.
up with a bunch of kids.
Yep.
Bang
Huh?
it away.
I mean, it can be possible, but we're almost getting to that point where now they can actually do the whole, what is it, you know, make your own baby cloning shit.
I think we're heading into like a depopulation kind of thing.
Yeah, first it's gonna do a deep
Because you're
pop
like,
and
well, it's the
maybe-
working class or whatever that's being, you know, that aren't having kids. And that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is the people who are hardworking and intelligent enough to perhaps, if they were organized and united, fight back and win, are being marginalized and aren't having children.
We
And
kind
the
of
one-
Do you think that could be
And the
in
people,
like an
hold on. And the people who would fall into line, who would vote for their own enslavement, and who would happily go into the slaughterhouse line, not knowing what's going to happen next because they're so dumb that they don't know what's going on around them, like those type of people, are the ones who were having lots of kids. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, they're getting exactly what they want. They're getting rid of the people who would fight against them, and they're getting more of the people who would vote for their own enslavement and willingly hop into the slaughterhouse line.
Do you think there could be some sort of like a subconscious adaptation, like some animal species would do to control their population, where everybody knows that the number of actual jobs are going down? We know that the jobs available for future generations aren't going to be there, so that maybe something, whether consciously or subconsciously, the jobs aren't going to be there, so we're having less kids.
No, I think it's selective breeding by a controlling host, by a rancher who's in charge of the cattle and the sheep, and we are the cattle and sheep, and they're saying, hey, these cattle over here get a little too rowdy sometimes, and these ones like to jump over the fence and escape. So what we're going to do is kill those ones, and then they're not going to have babies. So the ones that are all docile and like to sit in the field and do what we like them to do are going to, have all the babies. Like that's exactly what I think they want. They're manipulating the genome of the species in this country and probably all around the world, to be honest. Most countries towards a more docile, less intelligent, I would say, version of humanity. Less intelligent also means more controllable. Less intelligent also means less able to realize the situation that they're in and do something about it.
Kind of like that George Carlin rant where he was talking about people just smart enough to run the machines and just dumb enough not to question anything.
Yep, pretty much.
I mean, that's a little further than he went, but yeah.
Snake says population of California is 39.5 million. I thought it was closer to 50 or 60. I guess I'm wrong. Japan's 125.5, and I thought that was closer to 100. So it's a little bit high on my estimation for California and low for Japan. So they have 3 times the population with the same amount of land as California. But still.
And I'll say that they're a little more efficient on, people living spaces if you want people, live in tighter areas too. Ironically.
There are still open spaces in Japan, though, believe it or not.
Yeah, there is.
I was watching something the other day where they were showing it was like a row of Japanese restaurants, and they were basically like shoe boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen those hotels? Like your room, it's kind of like on a ship where you've got your basically your little cubby hole there with everything in, but there you slide in from the end instead of the side, and you just got it's like a coffin space that you're in.
Yeah, it's like little pods or something.
Yeah, you just have your little pod and you go in there. It's kind of what was that Bruce Willis movie? But it's smaller than that,
Fifth Element?
Fifth Element?
Yeah. Maybe we're all going to end up like that, like the Fifth Element, but less room than he had.
I was thinking of that episode of Seinfeld where fucking Kramer befriends the Japanese people and has them over and ends up with the giant fucking dresser. And then he has all of them sleep in the dresser because he's got nowhere else for him to go. But at the same time, he also had a hot tub for some reason. And the hot tub steam made the wood in the dresser swell, and then the dresser drawers wouldn't open anymore. So the Japanese dudes got stuck inside. I love that show.
Yeah, good show.
But
I mean, that was even the thing back then. Like that's why he did that, is because he was like, well, they're from Japan. They're used to sleeping like this. They're used to small spaces. Because it was like that back then too.
Yeah.
Dude, Japan's got some weird shit in it too. Like, I don't know. They've got like real culture, and I really like a lot of Japanese, like, I don't know, imagery or whatever you call it, or like historical type stuff. Like the shogun and like the way the dragons look and samurai swords, and I don't know, dude. Japan's fucking cool.
Oh, I'm probably somebody's story now. Because we went out, I took my bike and we went out to eat at a hibachi grill. And you know how they sit like multiple people down at the hibachi, and one family's on one side, one's on the other, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
Well, these people came in and they're from Ireland and they're visiting their friends in the state who happen to live, I guess, near me. And they sit down. And the guy saw my bike and he's immediately talking to me about my bike and all that. And he said he's hopping a plane for Ireland like last night. So he's probably in Ireland now talking about some big biker chick he met at a hibachi bar and our hibachi grill in Texas.
That's
Harleys over in England are like, that's an expensive ass, I don't know what you'd call it, It's like
That's
a
an
cod
expensive
piece.
ass bike here.
Well, it's an expensive bike here, but compared to their like the bikes that they get there are cheaper
Hmm.
than the imported Harley, which is expensive here, and then even more because it's imported. Yeah.
And that's not even including whatever their laws and restrictions. Because I remember I was watching something on on YouTube about like, it's about car stuff, like people with strange car stories. But I think it was a guy. I think he wanted I forgot what's the name of the bike. And it's one of the famous shows y'all will watch during your time, Honda. Like I think it was Knight Rider. He was trying to build a car off of Knight Rider, and he got stopped by the cops there. I think in England. And what I heard, the rules and stuff, what you have to do for you to get your car and the license, and it was ridiculous.
They've also got stages to the motorcycle license. They can't, which almost makes sense, but there's a freedom aspect that makes me say F you, but they can't just go out and get a 1900cc motorcycle and ride it. They're going to start them off basically. I think it's like they're on a 250 for a while, and then their license graduates, and then they get a little bit more power, what have you. It's a graduated system.
So they get neutered, essentially.
Eduardo Espinoza says Rolls Royce. I saw today driving around a brand new off the shelf Rolls Royce with dealer tags on it. It was so new. Like those things are like $1 million cars, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like how much is I don't even know actually. How much does a new Rolls Royce cost?
They had trucks like that for a long
Millions.
time until I think the last one was probably about 20 years ago when they went out of business. I think that was Marmon, but Diamond Rio. And what they were all custom. And like the door off one truck wouldn't fit another, which is the same as Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce is like custom,
Okay, I'm never
where
you're never
that sort of thing, or at least they used to be. And
no and
they
Rolls Royce are $450,000 to start, and that's for the sedan. This dude had the SUV. I don't know what the SUV even is or what it's even called. They have you can get the armored car versions of them too, though, which adds it's like double the price. So you can get like the $450,000 Rolls Royce Phantom, or you can get the $900,000 Rolls Royce Phantom with bulletproof glass and panels that can take up to 50 BMG.
I don't know. One of the guys I used to work for, he just rented a Rolls Royce, even though he had the money to buy one. I guess he just wanted to, drive a different car around in Hollywood. So it was interesting.
Do they still make them where they were like custom, where you could have like your doors any size, your seats any size, that sort of thing, and they made each one specific? Or is it pretty much like a Cadillac or something like that now, where it's a really nice vehicle, but it's all coming down the assembly line, the same thing?
Probably depends.
I don't know. I've never tried to buy a Rolls Royce.
It depends on which company, but I'm pretty sure you can find a way to talk to some people. Especially if you spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
Because that's why I was comparing them to like Marmon and Diamond Rio, because they did the same thing.
Dana says, "Where'd you see my car at?" Dude, I also saw a fucking Lambo today. Kind of makes me jealous. Oh, and your boy Spite's Corner, Tara.
Yeah.
Absolutely hates the bike that I want. I thought it was hilarious.
Probably. What do you want, the Versus?
Yep. Because it's got no soul. I can't even get past it. It has no soul. It has no soul. I can't even explain what that means.
That one.
But it's no soul. It
So
sucks
does
my
that
soul
mean-
away.
I think
Does
he
that mean
feels
it's
about
the
the
perfect ginger
Versus.
bike?
Well, it's
Well,
a
I
great
think he-
bike for everything, but it's not really particularly built for any one thing. So, like, some bikes are good at, like, being a muscle bike and having, like, a big rumbly engine, or some are, like, really good at just cruising. They got, like, the cruiser bikes with the bags and the fucking fairings and all this stuff. And some bikes are good for, like, taking to the track or doing twisties up in the mountains because they're, like, sport bikes that are really leaned over and stuff like that. And this is kind of like a little bit of everything, right? And it's not really anything. So it's kind of in the middle of everything. And so it's not like great at doing the twisties, but it's pretty good. And it's not great at doing like fucking long distance, but it's pretty good. And it's not great at fucking going really fast, but it's pretty good. And like the sound of the motor isn't like the best thing ever because it wasn't the main consideration when they were designing the bike is, well, what's it going to sound like? Because that's the most important thing. No, they built it so it would work good and compete with it, like certain bikes in its competition for a way less price, and they built it and it does better than its competitors for less. I think it just
I
doesn't
don't like
sound
when
good.
I don't like when the exhaust is obnoxious, but I do like for it to hear, kind of hear a good note. I think he kind of feels about the Versus like a lot of people in the gun community feel about Glock. You know, it's like kind of basic, you know, that
It's
sort of
good, but
thing.
it's kind of boring.
And that's
Perfection.
Right.
fair. And it honestly, it is like, I don't know, like the RAV4 of motorcycles, or like the Honda Accord of motorcycles. Like a cheap, everyone's got it available to them car that does pretty good at everything. It's fast, but it's not super fast. It handles well, but things handle better. Like it has nice interior, but there's way nicer. Like that kind of thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
got
Well,
like
it's
this
got
is the question I was going to bring up because Terry, you're from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, say if I go get a bike, right? You think it's better if I just take lessons, or how quick would that be, and all that other stuff?
Have you ever ridden a bike before?
Nope.
Go take an MSF course. If you got a friend with a lower powered bike, a dirt bike, something like that, get yourself really familiarized with the controls, that sort of thing, where you're not thinking about it. You're coming to a stop, kind of like, you're driving your car. You're not thinking of what you're doing. You're backing up. You're not thinking of what direction you're turning your wheel, that sort of thing. You just do it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
kind of get to that point before you drop a bunch of money on something with a bunch of power. Because what a lot of people do, they go take their MSF course. Now they go get a road glide, and now they're putting kind of too big of motors in them and giving them to people who haven't really ridden before.
Oh, yeah.
And
Because what's it called? Because I know they got a program here in my state where it's like, oh, highway patrol teaches you how to drive, how to ride a bike.
mhm.
And the only thing I ever ridden was like it's like some two-wheel thing that you're supposed to ride, not on ground, but I've been riding on ground. It was like one of those like I can't remember what's the name of that fucking company. It
Do you
was
have any friends with a dirt bike?
but it's hard to get a hold of them. So
Dude, I would say
Because
the thing to do would be to get like either a Rebel 250 or a Ninja 250 or a 300 or something like that
yes,
for as cheap as you can get it. Something, the older and more beat up and shitty looking it is, the better. Honestly, because it's your first bike and you're gonna drop it and you're gonna
you're
fuck
gonna
it up.
drop it. Yeah.
And it's better that
Yep.
you have a bike that's already fucked up, so you're not worried about fucking it up. And it's better that it's a cheap bike because you're gonna fuck it up. So
so,
both of those
so pretty
things are
much
better. And
so
it's
pretty
better
much
that
get a
it's a lower.
better
So basically, what I was gonna say, just buy it. Just buy the fucking bike. Buy the bike, and then you have it, and then you have it in your garage, and it scares you, and you sit on it, and you feel the controls, and you get used to it, and then pretty soon you're going up and down the street in front of your house, and then pretty soon you're going around the block, and then pretty soon you're going around the block in a big circle, and then you're on the highway, and you're driving around everywhere, and then you get your license. That's what I did.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. So pretty much is like I was thinking, just get like a cheap, like whatever already used Harley or something, and try that out. And I'm pretty sure it ain't that. It don't take much to switch the licenses and all that stuff if I, move over there to Texas and stuff, right?
Well, at least in Colorado, the way it works, and I don't know about in Texas, but to get your learner's permit, you go into the DMV and you take a written test, right? And then you have that for as long as you feel like you need it. Like if you feel like you're ready to take the driving test that day in Colorado, you can take both tests in the same day. You can take your written test and then do your test immediately afterwards. But you do have to make an appointment to take your driving test because they put cones out in a fucking parking lot and watch you and score you and make you do different maneuvers and things like that. And it's all low speed. That's the weird thing. In Colorado, like, it's all 15, 20 miles an hour is the fastest you will ever go during your test.
You
Everything
won't
is
go
slower
over
than that.
20. It's basically the same stuff as the MSF. And in Texas, it's the same thing, except you have the option of going to DPS, or you can go to an MSF course. The MSF course will give you the written test, and they will give you the writing test. But you're never going to touch a road. You're going to be in a big parking lot. And that's kind of the problem. Well, there's two. You do need to work on slow speed stuff. Definitely slow speed. And one of the reasons I like a dirt bike is you learn a lot of things at slower speeds, and you can go a little bit faster. You can get used to feeling your wheels slip, stuff like that, where you're not out in traffic doing it.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kind
Because I was
of
gonna
did the
say,
same thing as Honda.
okay, because I've drove. The only thing I ever drove was like this like motorbike type thing, but it wasn't something you're supposed to drive on the road. But
Like a
it was
little,
all right. You know how some people drive those little mini motorbikes. Like you've seen
yeah,
people
it's
driving
like a
them really,
little
really,
Yeah.
really
moped
small
kind of
ones,
thing. It's
but
got
a
a
little bit
lawnmower
bigger.
engine.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah. I know it's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit
underground.
bigger. Because I'm trying to remember what's the name of that company. It's that company that produces oil lamps. It's like can't
Vespa.
remember the
I don't know.
fucking name of it.
I would love to
Simple
have a
Dan,
Vespa. Those things are
Simple
worth
Dan
money.
forever says buy a scooter instead. And
Are you
I
talking about
say,
like Coleman?
Because that thing had gasoline. So I mean,
yeah, I know
so
the
I
Coleman
drove one
bike.
of
I know
those
what you're
ones.
talking about. I know what
Coleman,
you're talking about.
yeah.
Anyways, Simple Dan says buy a scooter instead. And I strongly, strongly disagree. Not because I don't think scooters are cool. Not because they're not fun.
Scooter
Right?
will kill you.
It'll kill you just as fast as a motorcycle. Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part about it is you don't have the power that a motorcycle has to get out of danger's way. So they're actually, in a lot of ways, way more fucking dangerous to be on a scooter than a motorcycle.
Well, I could just roll on the throttle and get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And you
Right,
can't do
yeah,
that on a
yeah.
scooter. The only thing that you got on a scooter is the brakes, And sometimes the brakes won't save
Yeah,
you.
they don't work, dude. The brakes are fucking useless. I had a scooter. Fuck those things.
Although if you are buying a used bike, because they have just look up used bikes for sale. You'll find the sites and stuff for your state or wherever. Check the VIN numbers. Make sure they have a title. If they don't have a title, walk away. Look at the title. Check the VIN numbers on the title with the VIN numbers on the bike. Make sure that they match.
Is that a huge problem where you're at?
Start it cold.
Because I've bought
There's
multiple.
so much
I have
bike
bought
theft.
multiple motorcycles, and I've never seen that before.
There is so much bike theft, and
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
I
bike
was looking
theft.
for
But as far as having a bike that you are looking at and saying, I would like to buy this bike, and they hand you a phony fucking title?
It's not a phony title you have the problem with. It's the there's problems with the title that never got fixed. And that happens every once in a while. I've heard of it, I've never seen it. What you
Well,
usually
that
run
can
into a
happen if you.
problem.
Okay, so like one way to get a bike, if you guys don't know, is to go to the salvage auction, and you get a bike that's been quote totaled out because it has damage on this or that, and you're buying a potential fucking problem, right? You're buying something that could just be a money pit that you're never going to get fixed, or you're buying something that you can put a couple $100 into, get working good enough, put some baling wire on the headlight and call it good, and ride that motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it can go either way, but they usually come with what's called a salvage title, or they come with bill of sale and something else from the place, which there's a method to get the title, but you got to jump through some hoops to do it. And part of it is showing, like in a vehicle inspection and all this other stuff, showing that you've done repairs that makes it roadworthy, which honestly you should probably have if you're going through that kind of process with a bike anyway. And yeah,
I'm just
like,
saying you don't want the headache
No, and you don't want to be the guy buying the bike from the guy who didn't get that done. You're right.
Right, like the first bike that I actually rode around, because the first bike I had, I rode it down a hill more than I ever actually rode it because it was hard to kickstart and everything. I was too young. But I pushed home a 74 and a 76 Kawasaki 750. And I used one for a parts bike and put the stuff into the other. So I've done stuff like that. But I'm looking for a
Take this one.
dual sport kind of thing, and I've run into a lot of people that don't have the title. And if they don't have the title, if you're in possession of stolen property, you're in just as much trouble as they are. You call the cops, you think it's stolen. And I have a relative that this happened to. He literally called the cops because he's like, hey, I think this stuff's stolen. And the cops press charges on him for being in possession of stolen property. You don't want to be in possession of a stolen bike. Yeah, and the way our legal system works is how much money you have is what kind of plea you're going to get. You're going to plea out, you're going to get probation or what have
Oh
you,
yeah.
and have to deal with all that headache. So if they don't have a title, if they don't have any of that, don't. I do like dual sports though, because another thing, there's usually places you can go and ride, like little dirt parks, that sort of thing, and you can put them in the back of a pickup, until you're comfortable riding it on the road, and you can get used to it off road.
Well, I was gonna ask, this is the same way with cars where you can just like, oh, I want to trade this in and put the money down towards another bike.
Yep.
Okay.
Generally speaking, as long as the bike that you're trading in isn't complete shit, and
you're not too upside down.
And if you are like, let's say you have a Honda and you're going to a Harley dealership to buy a Harley, sometimes they don't like. I mean, they'll still take it most of the time as long as
they don't want to deal with other different company types and all that stuff.
They won't give you a good price on it, so it's not really worth it to do.
The bike you want, don't make that your first bike. Because people go out. There's a lot of people that have something like a Harley, and it sits in their garage. It's an I got kind of thing. Like, I got a Harley, but they don't ride the damn thing. It sits in the garage. It collects dust. They wipe it off every once in a while, but they tell everyone they have a Harley, and they don't really know how to ride it. They pass the MSF course. They might have went out and had a scary incident or what have you. Hell, I had a wreck happen 2 days ago in front of me.
I mean, that doesn't make it sound like that's the easy way to buy bikes. It's like, oh, just find that one guy who hasn't rode it.
Well, that is a way you can find them. That's what I was saying. If you look online, just make sure they have the right paperwork to go with it. Make sure they can start it cold. If the motor's warm, you might want to come back around and check it when it's cold because it might have issues with it. Make sure the lights work. Make sure you're not getting into a headache.
I'd agree with that. And I also agree, don't buy your first bike as your dream bike or anything, because it may be too powerful for you.
You might get on it.
Well, it's not that it'll be too powerful for you, because you determine the power by how much you twist your wrist.
Yeah. And honestly,
what I mean is you're not used to
computers.
It can get away from
all
you.
the bikes
You're not
nowadays,
used to riding. You're not a rider yet.
if you
which
can ride a
means
bike, you can ride anything.
100% you're gonna drop that shit. Probably at low speed, but you're gonna fuck something up on it, and especially if it's like a minty new bike that you just spent $25,000 on because you're a fucking retard. There you go.
I'm just gonna say a lot of the
You know
new
how
bikes
much it
nowadays,
costs
too,
to fix my
they have
bike?
cuts. So
Probably $8,000.
$17,000, and it wasn't even
Jesus.
totaled. Only a Harley.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the things I was getting into, because where I think I'd have to put in a lot of work into figuring out what maintenance to compared to a car.
Don't get a project bike for your first one, unless you're just
Don't get a-
really good mechanically.
Don't
Like,
get
There's
a
too much other stuff you need to learn.
Yo.
Wait, I
Yo,
don't get Don't get a what?
Just buy a fucking Japanese bike. You'll be fine.
That's what I'm saying.
Merc.
And most
Honda
of the Japanese
Rebel.
bikes,
If you're looking at like, oh, like what's the maintenance schedule gonna be? Buy a
nothing.
Japanese bike. It's like having a car. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Another thing about the Japanese bikes, too, you can get a bigger
Ironically,
bike.
I did
You can-
wanted one, but that was my
God.
first thought. But
Yeah,
I was thinking more, more with that style.
What'd you say, Xanatus?
I was gonna say the modern Japanese bikes, regardless how big you get it, they have cuts that you can make it run like a fucking 300cc out of 1,000. You can make the fucking engine run like it's a lower power bike, and you can rip that
Right, with the
throttle as hard as you want,
electronics.
and it ain't gonna fucking do shit. It's gonna feel gutless.
Right.
Put them in
I don't know,
wave
man.
mode,
I do
stuff
like the old
that.
bikes though, like the old carburetor and just rumbly old bike, make smoke and shit. It's kind of cool.
No, just you're in California. Go to Orange County Choppers and have them build you a custom chopper. You'll be good to go.
They misled the gas. It smelled better.
I think that's Orange County, New York, not Orange County, California.
Oh,
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Steve B
Oh.
says I have a
Damn, I didn't know that one.
2023 KLX 300, 1989 Transalp 600, and a 2010 BMW RT 1200. Damn, dude. I kind of like those KLXs and the Honda 300. I forget what they call it. Same thing. It's like a
I think they're
dirt
coming
bike
out with
enduro.
another 300.
They're a
The
300 that has
XR650.
it has a sixth gear, so that you can fucking drive them all day on the highway at highway speeds, but then also take it on any dirt fucking trail anywhere because they've got. But the thing about the Hondas that kind of sucks is the suspension isn't that great off the line. You gotta like upgrade the fucking forks in the front and in the back. Well, not the forks in the back, but your rear shock.
makes me miss riding a bike. All this bike talk.
Rapping a bike? Like rap?
No riding.
I thought you said rapping.
But no, you
No,
are right too. Probably
What kind
low
of bike
speed.
did you have, Corey?
Do what?
What kind of bike did you have?
I used to ride a dirt bike a lot, but the street bike was it a Honda 350? Because I custom built two bikes when I was in college. I built a trike, and I used an old metal trampoline for the frame,
Oh,
and
shit.
then I custom built a chopper and just used, because what we had at the time was just a Honda 350 motor, and we had to build a pipe jig in order to make the frame for the bike, because we custom built everything from the ground up. We did all the wiring, we did all the tube bending, we fucking took a couple different tanks, cut them in half, and I TIG welded them together and just made one big tank. I used to have pictures. I still probably have some on like an old laptop or something, but yeah,
Why don't you do
dude,
that
it was
shit
fucking
again?
awesome. Huh?
Why don't you do that shit again?
Because I don't have a welder or anything anymore. You know, once I got out of welding job and got into the oil field and everything, I just ended up selling all my equipment.
Oil.
But yeah.
I actually have an interview on my channel with the guy who built an electric bike from scratch. He gets pretty technical on it.
There's a lot of people doing that, like especially like 10 years ago, not even like 6 years ago, 8 years ago, when the bikes coming out were kind of shitty. And so what they would do is like take a bike that was already out that someone had wrecked and like modify it somehow. So like it would have a range of 100 miles, let's say, before. So they'd give it a range of 10 miles, but it's just a fucking demon for 10 miles. So you just have like this toy that'll ride for 10 miles before it needs a charge again, you know? I had a buddy who did something like that. It was kind of cool. But it would loop itself if you weren't careful. Real easy. If you know what that means.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Calhoun. If I have to go digging for those pictures, but if I have them, I'll post them. But it'll probably take me a while because I have several old laptops and old drives and whatnot.
Cycle trader. That's what I was trying to think of.
Cycle Trader's okay, but usually the places that you end up finding the bikes have to be shipped to you. They're too far away. So whatever the price of the bike is, you got to add like $500, $600, $800 for having it shipped,
Oh,
which kind of sucks. But you can find anything there, period, pretty much. Like anything that's used that you might want to buy that's a motorcycle, you can find it there versus like Craigslist or whatever's local. Not necessarily, you know.
Okay, I finally figured out what the fuck I rode. It was pretty much one of those Coleman, like whatever, motorbikes or something.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
rode.
that's what I said earlier.
We said that earlier for sure.
Yeah.
Those things are fun. I mean, you know, what do they go like 15, 20 miles an hour?
I guess. I mean, I don't,
And there's no
keep
gear.
track of that.
It's just you fucking go. You
Yeah,
twist
and
the
then where I live at, in the city I live at, they don't get at you. So I was driving that shit on the streets.
dude. Well, they made different bikes for a really long time that are dual sport or whatever you want to call it. Enduro is what they used to call it. Like 200cc, 250cc, 160cc bikes that have headlights and turn signals and registration with the DMV and titles and everything so that you can get a license plate for it and drive it on the road. Like look up like a DR200 if you're on your computer. They're shot red. Like they're
I'm at
cool
work.
little bikes. On like top speeds, maybe 65, 70 miles an hour, maybe, you know. But they're not made for that. They're made for like going on side roads at like 45 and then finding some dirt and going all over the dirt all day, you know?
I take it CCs is like the common term of like horsepower and all that stuff, right?
Like when
The size of the
you
engine.
you're looking at a, I don't know, Mustang, it's like a 2.2 liter. That's 2,200 cc's.
That's
It's like a
weird
2-liter
Mustang
engine
if
is
it's got
2,000
2.2.
cc's. 1.6, 1,600 cc's. When you're looking at a motorcycle, generally speaking, they're less, unless you're looking at a Goldwing or something like that, or one of those Harleys that has like a 2,100 cc fucking engine in it. Or what's that one that Honda makes, the Valkyrie or something?
Yeah, that sounds
Like
right.
1,100, isn't it? Or 1,700 or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like 2,300. I swear, it's ridiculous. It's like a 4-cylinder car engine
It's
that
like
they
a
put it
Boosie almost.
on a motorcycle. Boosas are what, 1,300s?
Well, yeah, that's like double a Busa. I mean,
Yeah. Not necessarily double the horsepower, though, to be honest.
no.
Boosas are ridiculous.
Yeah, so are the Cowies in the 1,400.
Again, like that's a bike. I don't like. I get why people like them because it's basically the fastest thing you can buy, you know. But it's not for me, dude.
I got a
Yeah,
question
you pretty
real
much
quick.
asking to die.
Those little Coleman bikes, like Shot Red was talking about, are those like the ones that they used to sell at like certain gas stations and like Tractor Supply, just for just like teetering around the block or so?
Yep.
Okay.
For
I
like-
remember that.
Like
That
$400 or
was years ago when
$500
they,
or whatever.
yeah. When they first came out, I just saw them for sale for pretty much everywhere.
I mean, it'd be cool if you had 5 acres of land or something, and you know
Oh yeah,
had to go to the other side of it occasionally for reasons. Like,
Yeah.
get a Coleman bike, dude. It'd be fucking fun.
Yep.
Mark Malone said, "I'd rather have a 500cc two-stroke." That's ridiculous.
Well, it's Mark Malone, so what do you expect?
Well, I'm just saying, like, two strokes. Okay, if you're looking at like a 250, right? Like a 250 is a smaller motor. A four-stroke 250 generally makes 25 horsepower, let's say. A 252 stroke makes double that, like easily, dude. Those two strokes are fucking powerful as shit. And so when you're looking at a 500, that's like a fucking 1000cc four-stroke. Like, they're fucking ridiculous, dude.
Okay. Answer this one. It's the two strokes like gears, like that's
No,
what you said, bro.
That's the way the motor works.
Hmm.
So two-stroke is oil in the gasoline. There's no oil reserve in the motor. And the way it works is the piston goes up, it fires. The piston goes down, it fills with gas and air. Piston goes up, it fires. Piston goes down, fills with gear with gas and air.
Gear.
Fills with gear.
Gear.
A four-stroke goes up, fires, down, up again, vents everything out, down, sucks gas and air into it, up, fires. So it has four different strokes versus the two strokes just down, up, fire, gas, fire, gas, fire, gas. Does that make sense?
Is there pros and cons between them?
I mean, two strokes are generally not road legal
Why?
because they are loud and
Oil in the-
smoky.
Oil in the fuel.
Loud and smoky, and people don't like them because they're loud and smoky.
And they can be runaways as well.
Yeah, you can have a runaway with one too. That's true.
Fucking me.
When the motor blows up. You guys think about getting any gun chat sometimes, right?
Well, look at this Mark Malone. I'd rather have a 500cc two-stroke. You fucking idiot. Fuck that, dude. That's a fucking, what do you call them, Black Widows? Kill your ass. Not one of them fucking things.
Fucking X Adam 1. You see his comment?
No, I don't see it. Oh, there it
He
is.
said,
Thinks of a negotiation with a prostitute. How many strokes can I get for $600?
yeah.
I mean, you got to go with the four, not the two.
Wow.
Team effort.
Oh man, like a 250 two-stroke is almost like a 450 in power.
Right.
Just a different power band. And this dude's talking a 500cc two-stroke. Like, that's what you want to drive on the street. That's probably like 1000cc fucking four-banger bike without
Dude,
the top.
like, I've rode a 500 two-stroke. They're ridiculous.
Oh yeah, me too. You
ridiculous.
cannot keep the fucking front end on the ground. They
Like, you
literally
rip your
want to
arms
be
off
back-
holding on to it, dude. It's fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, they're no fun. They are fun, but they're no fun.
I mean, it's fun if you know what you're doing, but I didn't, and I was new to it, and like maybe it would be a cool bike eventually, but yeah, I don't know.
Imagine that thing running away on you, though. Like, fuck that, bro.
Yeah, I like. I would say for a new rider, looking at getting something nicer for like his second bike, really look at the 650 class. Look at the FZ07s. Look at the SV650s. Look at the Ninja 650s. There's a whole bunch of different bikes. The Vulcan 650. There's a whole bunch of different body styles and bikes and different configurations with that same style. It's like a parallel twin motor of approximately 650 cc's, depending on who's making it, right? And it's the perfect amount of power, in my opinion. Like, perfect. You can wheelie them if you want to. They're hard to loop, so it's not too much power. You can get up to 120, 130, so it's super fucking dangerous if you want it to be. It's nothing to slouch at. But it's also, like, friendly for going around town and being in traffic and stuff like that. You know, like they're kind of good for everything.
Yeah, it's highly manageable power as long as you're smart with it.
Whoa, dude said Ninja. Yeah. Dude, those Ninja 650s are nice bikes, man.
I sent you a picture of my bike.
And they're not like what people think when they think of a Ninja, which is like that
Yeah,
super sport bike, like hunched over,
right.
fucking like laying in the bike, like barely even.
Well, yeah, I was
Not
just about to explain that.
They're like
About that,
a nuts cut off Ninja.
Yeah, it's a Ninja with its nuts cut off, and it's made for comfort. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. No, seriously.
It is. No, they're good. They're fucking reliable too.
But that's
Drive
great
the shit out
because
of them.
like a Ninja with its nuts still is kind of scary,
Oh, fuck.
you know?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they're that fast. I take it.
Yeah, you'll get to like 8,000 RPM, and then all of a sudden, bam, more power. Whee!
Yeah, I think they redline at 16,000 RPMs.
Yeah,
Something
they're
like that.
nuts.
But yeah, they're
Yeah, you ain't even into the power band really until you hit like 9,000 RPM on those fucking things.
yeah, which is why they're kind of, I don't know, more of a intermediate bike than an expert, I would say. But I wouldn't say that's a beginner bike either, though, to be honest.
No, I would not. I would not throw someone on one of those unless you get like the new ones that you can make them not allow you into like the upper 8,000 plus RPM when you're learning.
What kind of bike did you have, Xanatos? I forget.
850 Vulcan
Okay.
and KLR 650.
Okay.
And then my like actual dirt bikes I had a 200, an 80, and we had a 2-stroke for a while, like a 125, but meh.
Those KLRs are fucking cool little bikes, man.
Dude, that thing still runs. And it has like 30,000 miles on it.
That's why they're cool, is because they're tanks.
Yeah.
They've been making them. I mean, they're on their third version, I think, now. But they've been making them since like 1989 or something was the first one that they came out with.
And the military uses them.
And it's basically the same bike. And they made some for the military. It's the only diesel bike, not that the normal one was, but the one that they made for the military was diesel. The only diesel bike that you can buy.
Right.
Which is cool, dude. They modified the engine so it would run off of diesel.
Oh yeah. It'll run off of both. You can run gasoline or diesel.
That sounds convenient.
They're fucking cool bikes, dude. Little tractors.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you want to go fast, like you're trying to go 100 miles an hour,
smaller sprocket.
You don't want that bike. That's not the bike for it.
No. I mean, you're looking top speed 90.
And honestly, like if you want to spend any amount of time cruising, like you're going to be cruising at this speed for 8 hours, you don't want to be going faster than 75.
Oh, fuck no. That thing gets scary at like 80, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Hey, Honda.
Says, is the B-Star 650 a good starter bike? Yeah, honestly. Like, if that's the style bike, you want like a cruiser style bike, that V twin 650 or a V pattern star, whatever the fuck it is, the engine, the 650 star, those things are not that powerful. I think they make like 40 horsepower. So that's enough to get around. It's enough to go on the highway, but that's not like anything that's gonna fucking blow your dick off.
You got an example of how that bike look like?
It's nothing to write home about.
Which one?
You want to look at the 650 B-Star?
Those are nice. I like the Yamaha bikes. They're pretty good.
Yeah, Yamaha does make nice shit. Like, you can pretty much close your eyes and point at a Yamaha, and it's not a bad decision.
They're like the only Toyota manufactured or part of Toyota company that still makes
something like that is ironically that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, and you can find these for $3,000 all day.
What about like a Honda? What is that? Nighthawk?
No, like a Shadow, like a Shadow 650 or whatever.
Not 750. They have it in a 250.
But you
Those
said
Nighthawk 250s, like those are fine. Honestly, you'd be better off going with the V-Star 250. Believe it or not,
Yeah, it's got more power where you need it.
it's got more
but you say they're not.
horsepower.
But
It
you're
doesn't
saying
have more
those ones.
torque. It doesn't have more torque, but it has more horsepower. It's a 2-cylinder engine versus 1-cylinder,
It's a better highway bike.
and it
Okay.
can actually go in the highway. But yeah, I'd
So-
say the 650 is better, honestly, though.
So you're saying those bikes don't drive too crazy, and you said it's like it's
No.
good enough just to drive on a highway, but you said it's
No,
not
you
long
could
travel.
hop on one of those easy. As long as you know how to run a clutch and how the gears and all that works, you're fine.
Or get one of those the Shadow 600s. Those are about the same amount of power,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Even a
VLX
Shadow
600.
1100. Shit, Shadow 1100 is pretty good too.
I sent you a picture of my bike to your Discord message.
Your lowrider?
Yeah, my lowrider.
Yeah, that's a nice bike. The only thing I would change about it is I'd have to give it more rumble.
So that's the Shadow 600. Like these things, you can go on the highway with them. I wouldn't want to go on like a long cruise though. Like honestly, you're gonna be. I'm sure the engine would do fine, to be honest, but you're asking a lot of it for a.
It's belt drive. It should be fine.
Yeah,
Pretty smooth.
I don't know.
That
They're good
is
bikes.
nice. So I
And
like
it's a
that.
Honda, so there's that.
Yeah, I like that one.
And they usually go for $3,000-4,000 somewhere in there.
Damn it! Now I want a bike again. Fuck.
Ha ha!
I'd end up killing myself though.
Yeah, this is the one that I want.
Nah, you'll be all right.
Like this guy.
Yeah, that's an all around good daily driver bike right there.
It's kind of ugly, but I kind of like it. You know what I mean?
It's got
Yeah.
character, man. It's got
It's like
character.
ugly in a utilitarian way. Like it's ugly for a reason. But yeah, that's the bike that I want.
It has 2 wheels. It gets you from point A to point B reliably. It's good.
Point A to point B reliably, 60
And back to
miles per
point A.
gallon with a 5-gallon tank. So it's got a 300-mile range. Good wind protection, upright seating position, super comfortable to ride. You can ride it all fucking like this is like coast to coast Honda right here. It's like, hey, I want to visit my friend in California. All right, I'll be there in 12 hours. Boom. What did it cost you? I don't know. What is it, 1,000 miles divided by 60 times 3? That's what? Do the math. You math that shit up.
$1 million.
That's not the right answer.
I know. I'm just fucking with
I'm
you.
getting ready for a trip right now.
I mean,
Yes,
I
my
can see those are, those bikes are a little more trip, but I don't think those probably ain't my style.
Yeah, it'd be $50 to ride to California. $100 round trip.
My sister's getting married at the end of this month, and I'm riding my bike up there to her wedding. And so I'm getting ready for that trip. That's 520 miles there, 520 miles back. But hopefully next year I can go see some of my family on the East Coast. And I'm wanting to ride my bike up through there, go see some friends in North Carolina, go to Pennsylvania, see my aunt, and go up to New York and see my uncle.
Damn, that's gonna be a nice little trek on the bike.
What are those
It'll be
blue
fun
ones?
though.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I don't know. What's that blue bike over there? What's that called?
This one?
Yeah.
These are all Indians.
Oh.
Can't go wrong with the fucking Indian bike in my
Indians
opinion.
are cool.
I fucking love
No,
Indians.
no, because I
This is
remember
the
when
one
I
would
first
get
was in there.
if I had Indian money, I'd get the Indian Scout. I think these
Oh, they're
are
that
yeah.
expensive?
Oh,
like
yeah.
10 grand, 10 grand used.
That's the only
Hmm.
Indian I would get. Because
No, yeah,
I
no,
like
because
them, but it's like this is the Harley. This is it. It's like they're making their version of a Harley where I think where Honda did right is like with their Goldwing, they did their
Mhm.
own thing instead of trying to copy Harley like everybody else did. And now they've probably got as far as if you're actually going to ride cross country, dependable bike, everything else, they've probably got the best bike. I mean, I
Yeah.
like Harleys, but
See, that's probably the thing. I probably would not make my bike more like, oh, I'm driving across country. No, I
You just want
prefer
something
driving.
around town and
Yeah,
cruising.
yeah.
But dude, that
yeah, my
Indian
Fat
was
Bob's like my
sexy.
hooligan bike. My lowrider's the one to ride on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because of that, I prefer to ride my car.
Here's the bike you want for around town. An
Okay, ain't too bad.
MT-07. Oh wait, that's the 320. Never mind. The MT-07. This is the guy right here. Super fun bike, dude. This is a hooligan bike. And again, this is a little bit more expensive. I think these go for 5 to 7 used,
Yeah.
but they're fucking. They've got some nice power, and the sound. If you're into the sound of the motor, this one makes a fucking mean sound. That's one
Yeah.
selling point on it.
That's just an ugly ass bike in my opinion.
You think?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Well, no. Ironically, the ugliest bike is to me is the one that I was asking about, that blue one, because I know, because when I was first working, right when the pandemic happened, I had those one dudes come by a motorcycle, but they were more talking about like, hey man, you should get this bike. Mostly black people get that kind of bike. But I'm like, I don't care for that kind of bike style. I prefer
Right.
more, like that. I always see cars that
Yeah.
look like that, or they're a little more upright. I'm like, nah, I want mine a little bit more low to the ground, or because when I first, something like that, I was like, I don't care for those. I know they're
I
probably good for
just
cross country and all that stuff, but nah.
Show him my
I can't.
lowrider. Just don't make that your first bike.
I don't like all that shit up front by the
Yeah, me
handlebars.
either. I don't care for that either.
I don't like it attached to the handlebars like on the Batwings. I don't mind it like on the Road Glide or the lowrider because it's attached to the frame.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you put it on the handlebars, it transfers all that wind vibration, the buffeting to your hand.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Fuck it, Shot Ray. Get one of those Can-Am spiders.
Damn, this one's actually pretty good price. $3,000 for a 2008 Tiger 1050. Damn, I kind of want that. It's not the bike I want, but fuck me. I don't have $3,000 right now either. Is the problem?
Right. Not many do.
Me neither, unless I want to sell shit.
Yeah, I could sell a bunch of guns or something.
Oh, the one up top, all the way back up top, Honda. That third one is more like the side, like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's
Bobber,
a
dude.
Shadow 600. We were already looking at Shadow 600s
Mm-hmm.
that someone has turned into a bobber, which means
Yeah.
they cut it out and put a hardtail in it. Meaning they cut out all the shocks and stuff and just put a straight fucking hardtail on it, and then you put springs under your seat. It's called a bobber.
Yeah, I wouldn't do the cutout.
I mean, that's a style.
Yeah,
That's what they do.
But I'm talking about the shape. You know how the way it's formed. The only difference is I would not do the cutout and probably want the
Keep
the arms of the thing lower.
I
The
did that to
handlebar.
my Vulcan, and I kept the springs and stuff. I just shortened them, did a lowering kit. It was nice.
I mean, this is nice until you're going over bumps on a
And you
road
bottom
that's
out,
not
yeah.
paved very well, because there's no bottoming out. There's no suspension in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Your
It'd tear your
suspension is
back
this
up.
little tiny spring right here for your ass. But they're fun. They're fun bikes. I don't know. How do
I've
we
been
get on
looking
the
at
subject?
seats.
What's that?
I've I've been looking at seats. I've been debating between the road sofa extended reach and the tall boy seat. And Corbin has one that I like, but they'd have to change the stitching. So I'm going to put a 2-up seat on that lowrider. And I'm trying to find someone to do a custom sissy bar on it, but I want it quick detach. I can kind of find similar to what I want, but it's just hard mounted. I want to keep it quick detached because there's a couple of tour packs, trunks, that sort of thing that I can stick on it, and then I can take it back off. And if I'm running around town doing my thing, I can put the sissy bar on it. And if I want to put the trunk on it, I can put the trunk on it. That sort of. They've got one that looks like the old FXRT, and then they have one that makes it look like a mini Road Glide. But I'm wanting to put a 2-up seat on it, and I just put the crash bars on last weekend. They're bunking 2-step, high step crash bars with Darlin sliders. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm going to put the passenger peg replacement sliders on it.
Nice.
And get the extended ones so they'll come out just a little bit past my bags. So hopefully, if I drop it, my bags don't hit.
Why don't you show us what Tara's bike is? She sent it to you.
I don't know if we can show that.
Probably not. Save it for Rumble.
We're not doing Rumble tonight.
Oh.
There's one big ass fight in Maryland, I guess. What the hell's going on?
200-person brawl is what they said.
What's that?
There was a 200-person brawl that led to a shooting of 2 people.
Okay, so at my work,
brawl, somebody's gonna happen.
At my work, we used to do this all-you-can-eat buffalo wing night thing, which was the worst night of my life every week. Like, every week was a little bit worse than the week before, which meant every Thursday that you saw me was on the worst day of my life. Like, I'm not even joking. It was, like, seriously, like, the shittiest fucking day to work, and everyone, like, tried to get as many wings as they could and fucking make you do a million fucking things and tip you like it was just the terriblest fucking idea. I was so glad when they stopped doing it. But one night, it was all-you-can-eat wing night. And there was a group of, like, 60 dudes hanging out together and a group of, like, 50 dudes hanging out together on the other side of the bar. And we do last call for the kitchen, which means I don't care if it's all-you-can-eat wings night, the kitchen's closed, fuck you, right? Tired of your bullshit. You've had 7 baskets of wings. You can fuck off with number 8. We did last call. Suck my cock, right? That's where we were at. So we're at the suck my cock portion of the evening, and someone wants wings, and the answer is, of course, suck my cock. The kitchen's closed. Fuck you, right? So he goes to the other side of the bar where the other table is, and grabs like a basket of wings off of their table. Not his wings, their wings. Someone sees him do it. They confront him. Now there's 2 people arguing. Dude who grabbed the wings has 2 buddies who come up behind him. Now it's 3-on-1. Dude who's arguing with guy who stole wings has like 4 friends see what's going on. Now it's 5-on-3. And you can see where this goes. It ends up a 90-person brawl. 90 people fighting, fist fighting, yelling, screaming, breaking things, flipping chairs, throwing stuff over a basket of buffalo wings.
Jesus Christ, man, that's ridiculous. They were serious wanting more wings.
Of course, it's the power of wings, man.
Yeah. Fuck your goddamn all-you-can-eat wings.
I would have been there myself.
Yeah, fuck you. Where's the waiter? I can't find him.
Sounds like they just need to reinstitute the all-you-can-eat buffalo wings.
Shit, in fact, I was going to get some wings right when I finish work in 30 minutes.
Don't get me wrong, I like wings too. I just don't like having to go back and forth to the table 17 times to find out, oh, would you like some more wings now, or what flavor would you like to get with the time of the wings? No, bring up my to you! Fuck you. I take your order once, not 17 times.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like, that was the worst part, because your job's never done. Right? Because, like, normally, holy shit.
Yep, Ireland's popping off.
You
Yeah, it's
take
on.
someone's order, you put it in the computer, you check with the kitchen to see when it's coming out, you get their food out to their table, and you're done with that portion. You can move on to the next thing. All you can eat wings night is just that whole like series of events again and again and again and again and again and again for every table all night. Campfire, Colorado. What's your guys' credit score? Can you buy? You got good credit going on?
No.
790.
790 is pretty fucking good.
Yeah. I still can't get
Three.
a fucking loan though. Banks won't give you no loans out right now.
Holy shit, dude. What is that?
God damn. That is Project Bluebeam if I haven't seen it. Look at that thing.
No, I mean this is a rocket going. This is like an Elon Musk rocket or something.
It's hitting the you know that thing.
Well, they're saying it hit the firmament.
Yeah.
It is in the ether
Yep.
that lies between us and the stars above, which is bullshit. I mean, in order to believe that, you have to believe like every scientist who knows anything about space is just lying or fucking being lied to themselves and repeating the lie.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're hiding the real shit. I think they are lying to us, but I think they're lying about like the real what's really going on up there. You know,
Like the dark side.
that
Of,
and-
like there's totally something going on the moon.
Oh yeah.
Bro.
Oh yeah, China even accidentally leaked that and then had to retract it and then said, "Oh, it was all bullshit." You know, we didn't actually go to the dark side of the moon and this and that and the other.
There are also a lot of people that will say that they're hiding a lot more land masses from us that are out there.
Oh yeah, like the Earth is actually bigger than what they claim.
Yeah, and there's more land out there that we haven't really
Yeah.
explored that they're
Well, if you
hiding it.
listen to some of Neil deGrasse Tyson's fucking shit. He's even admitted to that, saying that because, like, you know how the Red Bull guy went up and said he could see the curvature of the Earth, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's like, no, you couldn't see the Earth curvature from that high. You got to be way higher, like 3 times as high as that. So how does that make sense? You know, without it being bigger.
Right.
Dude, I swear I could see, and it wasn't like, well, I could see the full curvature of the Earth, but I could see a slight, like the corners of the Earth were lower than the middle. It looked like a slight hump, even though it was basically flat still. From an airplane. Being
It's like
30,000 or whatever feet that they are. I don't know, what is that what planes fly
I think
at?
it's an optical illusion due to the windows of the aircraft.
Maybe. Possibly, I guess.
Look
I
at
don't
the moon. You can see the Earth's shadow on the moon.
It is odd that, okay, like, Earth is random size, moon is random size, sun is random size.
Yeah.
Earth is random distance between sun and Earth. Moon is random distance between Earth and moon. And yet, when there's an eclipse,
They're
the
same
moon
size.
and the sun are exactly perfectly to, like, an immeasurable amount, the correct size for the moon to cover up the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that weird?
That's because it's
Because they're not all
random.
random sizes.
Yeah, it's not randomly designed. It was, intelligently designed.
You can see the outside of the sun when the moon completely blocks it. And then when the moon's on the other side of the Earth, I think that's a lunar eclipse, that this it's not going to reflect the sun's light for a little
Okay,
while.
so the moon formed because proto-Earth number 1 and proto-Earth number 2
Crash.
collided with each other, creating Earth and a giant fucking cloud of dust and debris and ice and rocks and bullshit that eventually coalesced into the moon, right? That's how the moon was formed. Correct?
Supposedly.
According to science, that's how the moon was
Yeah.
formed.
Yeah.
It could have been 10% bigger or 10% smaller, just depending on the size of the splash of the two planets colliding together, which would have affected the moon as far as the size. It could have, things could have been moving a little bit faster, spinning faster, which means the moon would be much further away from the Earth than it is currently, which would make its size appear smaller to us relative to its actual size, meaning if it came between us and the sun, it would not cover the sun, right? It's just weird how that worked out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Another weird thing is even recently NASA has said that our Earth's atmosphere is stretched enough to actually inhabit the moon. So our atmosphere is part of the moon's atmosphere, which is fucking weird. Like our
There is like a
stretched out
very,
so
very
far.
slight atmosphere on the moon, but you couldn't take your helmet off.
No, there's no oxygen or anything, but our Earth atmosphere is stretched out far enough, and it orbits with the moon.
So
Another
let's
weird-
say that they're lying about like the dark side of the moon and say that they're lying that there's all these other land masses that we haven't discovered yet, and they're hiding everything from us. Why? What would be the point of hiding all this information from us?
I don't know.
Keep you away from true freedom. Keep you enslaved in a box.
That is another weird thing, though, is Dark Side of the Moon. Why do they call it that? Well, in case you didn't know, the moon revolves around the Earth once a month, approximately. It's like, whatever it
And
is
doesn't
exactly.
spin.
Locked in orbit.
Which is exactly how long a day is on the moon. Meaning the same side of the moon always faces us, because it does one rotation in the time that it does one revolution.
It's tidally locked. And the dark side of the moon gets more sunlight than the side that faces us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, dude. Because, think about this,
Yeah.
right? Like, Galileo was killed because he had theories about celestial bodies and how the Earth revolved around the sun instead of everything revolving around the Earth. If the moon actually spun around so that we could see the other side of it on a regular basis, perhaps early man would have realized much earlier, based upon observation, that in fact that celestial body was spinning, and perhaps we were on a celestial body that was spinning, and that it was going around us, so perhaps we are going around something else, the sun, and Galileo's ideas wouldn't have been so crazy.
What's bad is they knew that the Earth was round, and they knew the degree of the curvature. What was that? 1,500 years before Galileo. But then there's the whole thing with the church and all that, and that sort of thing. A lot of stuff had to be relearned.
You must
A lot of stuff was
unlearn what you
known,
have
but common
learned.
people didn't know.
I don't know. There might be some crazy ancient technology that we don't know about, though.
Oh, I 100% believe that.
I'm not saying they're more advanced than us or whatever, but maybe they had some sound reverberation technology that we don't have, or some sort of like, I don't know, battery capacity technology that we don't know that they had, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's
Is it-
also theories out there that there's tombs and stuff they found in these giant rooms, the way they were designed, according to them, that they used like different hertz. It sounds that would actually be healing. So you go in these and you create certain sounds and certain frequencies and everything, and essentially would heal you, or to an extent.
Well, and there's
Didn't
evidence of
Tesla-
like machine work on stone, so they can tell like some sort of mechanical drill was used to make this hole. What powered the mechanical drill? Who knows? We don't have the drill. We have the hole. You know.
Yeah.
Didn't Tesla say if you wanted to understand the universe to think in frequency and vibration?
Yeah.
I don't know, did he?
I believe he did. Brake lights are really freaking me out right now. My company sent me the video because my truck has a camera on it of the accident that I had a week ago.
You doing all right from that? Did you get your truck fixed?
It's fixed. I just looked at it at the yard. I don't know what all's fixed on it yet. I'm not even going to look at that till tomorrow. The bumpers, they just bent it back. And there's other stuff that needed to be fixed that I hope they fix. But I mean, the guy's insurance said he had a Toyota. He was driving a Cadillac. He had a Mexican ID card from the consulate. And they just sent me the video where I wanted to see it anyways, but just for my purposes, like, did I do anything wrong? I don't think I did. I wasn't going to lock it up because I had to jackknife the truck. I just slowed it down as quick as I could. But spinning to the left and spinning to the right.
So there was Tesla's earthquake machine. You guys know about this?
Did I get knocked out?
You guys know about this?
Never heard about that one.
No.
Wait, what?
Tesla's earthquake machine.
I
I got it out.
So it didn't actually create
See ya.
earthquakes. It did not actually create earthquakes. What it would do is you could put this like 10-pound machine, right? Is all it would weigh, something like that, on the middle of a bridge, and it would oscillate back and forth at different speeds until it found the correct vibration level, and the vibrations would like stack on each other and start becoming stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and then the fucking bridge would fall apart and break because of the reverberation.
Huh.
Yeah. They tested it on Mythbusters. They couldn't get it to work. But supposedly, I guess there was I was just looking at it, like a bridge in 1930 or something like that. April 12th, 1931, a suspension bridge collapsed due to the mechanical resonance induced by troops marching in step. So the troops marching across, because they were all doing it in unison, created a resonance that reverberated through the bridge and got stronger and stronger, and the bridge fucking fell apart and killed a bunch of people.
Now I've heard of that, yeah.
Is Trump on our side, do you think?
I'm getting the feeling he's like a Benedict Arnold character.
Yeah.
Well, he already banned bump stocks, so
Sometimes I go back and forth. Sometimes I think he's like 100% fucking true believer and like wants to help and he's doing his best. And other times I'm like, bro, he's probably sitting at the meeting in the back and he's like, all right, let me find out what I can do to be the bad guy again. I'll be the best bad guy you've ever seen. It's the worst Trump impersonation you've ever heard. The worst.
He's sitting on the outer circle meeting. Is what
You
he's
gotta
sitting
do it
at.
like this.
How do you do it?
You
I
have to
can't
have
do
a
Trump, dude. I
douchebag look
cannot
on his
do. I've
face.
tried to do Trump. I can't do Trump.
You have to scritch your lips up like this, and you have to talk like you're a douchebag.
I believe now is the time to move forward. Almost nasally, kind of too.
That Rosie O'Donnell.
You were almost
She's a
quoting The
wildebeest.
Simpsons. We must move forward, not backward. Upward,
Oh,
not
man.
downward. And always twirling, twirling, twirling to the future. Funny how shit like that sticks with you. I don't know why.
I know, right?
I wonder what they've started with this prosecution of Trump, because like once you start something, it never goes back. Are we ever going to have a president that isn't prosecuted when they leave office
Apparently not.
No,
of either side? Because the
not
Republicans are going to
anymore.
go after the
I
Democrats.
feel like there's a cop right
if
next to him right now. Oh, there totally was.
Dumbass.
That's great.
Calhoun asked a while ago, so when are we going to see Tara's bike?
Oh. Like how everyone gives me homework to do. There, I sent you a picture. Now you must look at it. Hey, they sent you a picture. Why didn't you put it up yet? There you go. That is pretty nice. How much horsepower does that make? Like 160?
90.
2,000
no,
horsepower.
it's 120 horse, like 120 something pounds of torque.
Jesus.
It's nearly a stage 2. It'll have a little bit more horsepower when I finish with the exhaust. It's got a race cam in it, and I'm probably gonna change.
Whoa. 120 foot-pounds of torque?
Yeah, it's
That's
120
ridiculous.
something.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's 1920 cc. Yeah, and it's got the torque down low. It's a Harley. So
That's ridiculous.
it's not going to keep up with race bike.
A straight line it might.
Well, actually,
Off
if you
the
look at
line,
the suspension
off
on
the
that
line.
one, well, off the line, yeah, but the race bike's eventually going to pass it, you know. That one, it'll probably top out somewhere around like 160-ish. It's not going to hit 180, 190, any of that.
Why would you want to go 120 on that thing? Let alone faster.
Fuck that shit.
The only place I'm going to go that fast to be at the track in Baytown in a straight line at the drag strut. But if you look at the suspension, it's got the inverted forks in the front. It's built a little bit more like a sports bike. I mean, it's a cruiser, but it doesn't have the same suspension as the other cruisers. That my Fat Bob's the same way, and it is fun in the curves. Like you're coming out of the curve and you just roll the throttle until it locks wide open, and that is so addicting.
Can't imagine you can lean this thing over that much.
Oh, you can. Quite a bit.
Peg scraping.
Not as much as like a bike that's meant to be on the track, but I mean, my bags aren't that low. It actually, you sit low, but the bike isn't actually that low. And it's
Fastest
got
I've
a
ever
pretty
gone
good
on a
thing.
bike is 130. And I look down and I'm like, okay, that's as fast as this thing will go. Let me start slowing down. And I hit like a pebble going 130, and it put a little wobble for a second and everything, and I was like sure I was going to die, and I swore I would never go that fast again.
Like that scene in the Spider-Man video game when Spider-Man like dies and the lady's like, "Oh, I'm gonna die."
That's
Pretty much.
about as fast as I've been. And
Like 100's fun. 100's fast as fuck. 100's fine. 100 gets my
80's
blood
normal.
pumping. I don't have to go faster than 100, really. I mean, like 105, maybe. That's fine. I can go 105, and that's not that crazy over 100. I
Hey, get
don't need to
this.
go faster than that on two wheels. I think that's because like any little thing happens, you're going 140, 130 miles an hour. Okay. Have you ever taken like an eraser and you just erase and erase and erase until the eraser's gone? That's what's going to happen to the flesh on your body that's contacting the road.
Meat
It's going to get
grinder.
erased away. And I
The
don't want
last
that to
group
happen.
ride. The last group ride that I went on, we're going into curves. We're like hitting the curves, doing 80. And I had a safety meeting the next day when I went to work, and I was in such a good mood because it puts you on a high that like 2-3 days later you're just still on like this adrenaline high. And I was in such a good mood at the safety meeting that they sent me for a drug test.
Yep. You can get down on a street bike real quick, says Mark Malone. For once, I agree with you. You got to be smart when you're riding. That's the main thing. And if you are unable to control your own inhibitions of wanting that next adrenaline rush and doing something perhaps risky or dangerous to do so, will only escalate and escalate and escalate to the point where you're doing insane shit on a bike. And if you do enough insane shit on a bike, sooner or later, the Reaper's going to find you. And he's going to touch you, and that's it. That motherfucker puts his icy fucking bone hand on your shoulder, you're dead. That's it. You're gone. No more.
You can only roll the
And it
dice
might be
so many
quick.
times.
It might be quick, or it might be slow and fucking painful. It might be you get run over and your neck snapped right away, or it might be you spend 6 weeks in the hospital wishing that morphine would work better. You know? Like, fuck me. These things can be goddamn dangerous. And if you're not smart about it, and you're not responsible about it, and you're not doing things that are conducive towards life and living and breathing and eating and continuing to walk around, then you won't. Then you just won't. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about getting a bike out there. Like, I don't want to be responsible for anyone fucking doing anything stupid. In fact, I discourage most of you from getting a bike. I think you're too fucking what's the word I'm looking for? You're not responsible enough. You're too irresponsible. Fuck you guys. Don't get a bike. Anyway, we've been going 2.5 hours. I think it's time to shut this bitch down before we show something and I get a YouTube strike.
Yeah.
Because if you guys didn't notice last week, even though we did half of the video on Rumble, YouTube still took down the half that we did on YouTube. And the half that we did on YouTube, I was being careful about.
Wow.
So YouTube's after me, or they've changed their algorithm and things are just fucking more difficult in general, or I don't know what's going on, but
Thank you for showing my bike.
yeah, for sure. And we'll be on Rumble again, probably next chat. I just didn't feel like setting it up today, and it's easier not to do it. And I didn't really feel like we were going to be doing anything too risky tonight as far as the subject matter, because I really didn't have any at the same time. So, but we will be back. Well, I will be back Saturday maybe for Matt's Geek Chat if he does it, and then Sunday for the Sunday Chat. But I got to go to work for a couple days, so I'll see you guys around. But thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody on the panel. Love your faces.
Thanks for having us.
And
Yep.
we'll see you
Thanks
guys
for
next
having me
time.
on.
Peace out.
Pointless.
Where the white women at?